Beirut providing shelter, meantime, for about 10,000 people displaced from southern Lebanon, and the Israeli military warning them not to return home until further notice. As I understand it, there have been more extensive strikes on Lebanon today. What do we understand, or is it clear at this point what those strikes are targeting?
Well, you know, Becky, first of all, when it comes to the mass displacement that we are seeing across Lebanon, from southern Lebanon, from the eastern parts of the country, from Lebanon, from Beirut's southern suburbs as well, there's no exact figure that has been provided by authorities. But as you had mentioned earlier, we are talking about, according to the foreign minister, a number that is approaching nearly 500,000 people, which, if you put it into context, that's nearly 10% of Lebanon's population that has been displaced right now. I mean, you have people in their thousands, Syrians and Lebanese, who are trying to cross back into Syria in search of safety, into Syria, Becky. And you also have, you know, for example, here in Beirut, in the hotel where we are staying at, we have seen an influx of displaced families who have arrived from southern Lebanon and also from the southern suburbs as well, with nowhere to stay. They are staying in hotels. So this is definitely a crisis that this country cannot afford to deal with in terms of supporting mass displaced population right now. And then you have the continuing airstrikes, the Israeli military saying that they are carrying out extensive strikes that are mostly focused on southern Lebanon and the eastern Bekaa region. They say that they have hit 100 Hezbollah targets, but that was earlier in the day. We've had reports of more strikes since. The Israeli military says it has continued or begun striking in Nabatia in southern Lebanon. So we expect to get more updates during the day. Lebanese authorities are confirming these areas have seen heavy airstrikes today. At least 23 people killed, according to the health ministry, a number that is continuing to rise again by the hour. From what we are seeing, dozens more injured. And it's unclear, Becky, how many of those who are killed and injured are Hezbollah fighters, how many of them are civilians. But as we have seen in the past few days, there are many women and children, according to Lebanese authorities, among the casualties. And then you talk about the injured. You've got healthcare, the medical system in this country that was already on its knees before this because of the COVID crisis, the financial and economic crisis, the Beirut port blast, as you know very well. They have been struggling to deal with the influx of thousands of injured in the past week. And everyone you speak to here, Becky, is bracing for what might come next. So much fear and apprehension.
Well, if you've been with us for the last couple of hours, or indeed you're a regular viewer, you will know that we've been bringing you the very latest from the ground in Lebanon, where fears of a wider war erupting between Israel and Hezbollah are palpable. We've been here before in 1978 after the UN urged Israel to withdraw its forces from Lebanon following a bloody conflict. It established UNIFIL, the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, for three main reasons. One, confirming the withdrawal of Israeli forces. Two, restoring international peace and security. And three, assisting the government of Lebanon in ensuring the return of its effective authority in the area. And when hostilities boiled over along the southern Lebanese border again in 2006, the UN created a buffer zone free ostensibly of any armed personnel except those of the Lebanese government and UNIFIL under UN Security Council Resolution 1701. Well, that buffer zone seen here on the map between the so-called Blue Line and the Litani River. Well, until today, UNIFIL has been working to ensure the area remains weapon-free, both from Israel and Hezbollah. Earlier, I spoke with UNIFIL's spokesperson. He told me more than 10,000 peacekeepers are fully deployed in southern Lebanon in over 50 bases to try to help de-escalate tensions in the area. Over 80,000 people have fled southern Lebanon, he said, in just 2 days. Incredible numbers. Here's what else he told me.
Well, the focus at the moment, of course, during the heavy shelling, it's important also to keep in mind the security and safety of the troops, and usually they are in compounds. But most of the time we've been patrolling, we've been monitoring. Until a few days ago, we had over 450 activities per day. But the important role is also the role of the head of mission, of the force commander, General Lazaro, who has been keeping a channel of communications open with the parties. So the effort now is de-escalation and trying to use our diplomatic efforts to de-escalate and trying to bring some kind of stability.
So what have the two parties told him? Because at this point, it is a stated aim by Israel to escalate in order to de-escalate. I mean, how does UNIFIL feel about that, and how concerned are you about a ground invasion?
Of course, we are concerned about the overall situation, including also a ground invasion. That's what we are trying to prevent and de-escalate. And a solution is there. And both countries have been several times saying that the solution is, again, the full implementation of the resolution that ended the conflict in 2006 between Hezbollah and Israel, which is Resolution 1701, the resolution that wants to bring back a large number of Lebanese army to the south. They wants to discuss issues related to the Blue Line in order to find agreement on areas where there is no borders, and have an area free of weapons and militia in the south. So there is a solution that is possible, but you need the commitment of the parties.
And you said that the commander has spoken to both parties. I mean, what have they said?
Well, the communication is mainly to de-escalate. Of course, everyone has a different position in terms of what they want to achieve. And the IDF have been repeatedly saying that they need to get the Hezbollah out of the south of Lebanon. But now we see that the shelling is everywhere. And it's important also from the Lebanese side to ensure that areas that have been under occupation should return to Lebanon. Also, the ground and air violations that we've been witnessing on a daily basis. These are all violations, and it's all part of the resolution that has not been implemented. So there is a solution. We need the commitment of the parties in order to implement it. At the moment...
Yeah, I mean, and that, of course, includes Hezbollah. We're not just talking about Israel and Lebanon here. I mean, it's an acting government in Lebanon at present. This is about Israel and Hezbollah. I mean, is there any indication they are prepared to concede anything? They used ballistic missiles, for example, or a ballistic missile in a targeted attack last night, Tuesday night, against, they say, a Mossad installation in near Tel Aviv. I mean, what have they said that they are prepared to do to de-escalate? And what do you think their policy is?
I think most of the conversation, of course, in terms of negotiation is handled by member states and countries, main stakeholders at the moment. So the mission is prepared to assist in any kind of agreement that can be found and work in the de-escalation process. But it's important for the international community at the moment to increase their work in de-escalating the tension. And the General Assembly in New York in these days will be a perfect and good forum for the diplomacy to work on this de-escalation.
Well, one would hope so. I mean, UNIFIL, of course, is a UN deployment. And the UNSC, the Security Council, will meet later today to discuss the escalating tension in Lebanon. What is your message to member states at this point?
But more than a message to member states, in the message to everyone and to the two parties fighting at the moment, that what we are seeing today could potentially and very much lead to a regional conflict that could have devastating and catastrophic consequences, not only for the two countries, but for the entire region. So it's a very important moment that this is not only a confrontation between Hezbollah and Israel, but it's much wider. And it needs to stop, not only after 11 months, almost 1 year. No one can afford it. And we need to go back to the situation we were living before, where we were trying to move forward. Let's not forget that from 2006 until October last year, the south of Lebanon had witnessed one of its quietest periods in recent history. We were trying to move forward in having more LAF deployed to the south, working on establishing an area along the blue line that were agreed by both sides. So there was a work that was about to be done, but everything stopped. So that's why it's important to go back to 1701 and to go back to a long-term solution for this region that has been suffering not only for 11 months, but for a very, very long time.
If Israel starts a ground invasion, if it invades, are you ready? What will you do?
UNIFIL has been here in 2006 when there was ground invasion. UNIFIL has been here since 1978. We have not left. So, of course, if we have a situation where it will be difficult for the mission to operate and to work on the implementation of the mandate, will be again up to the Security Council to decide how to move forward. But at the moment, we are really hoping that working on de-escalation should be the next phase. But everything else, if anything happens, of course, Security Council, we need to decide the way forward.